Yesterday was a beautiful cloud-free winter's day. As you can see, today is equally a beautiful cloud-free spring day, because today is the 1st of September. So yesterday I took off my procrastination clothes and got on with the retaining wall project, which has been ongoing for a few weeks as I work it in around other things. And I knew that one hole in particular that I had to dig was going to be problematic because it's right beside a big tree, and I knew the ground from experience. I knew the ground was going to have some significant roots in it that I would need to chop and hack and generally remove in order to get the post in the ground. So yesterday I completed these two post holes, and I did this one at the end, and then the troublesome one, of course, was this one here right beside the tree. But I did eventually get that completed yesterday evening, and so today is concrete day. So I have some builder's mix under the tarp here, and I have some cement in the shed, and so onward and upward I will get this job done, and that will be hopefully the last of the hole digging for a little while. We'll see. I do still need to dig a couple of trenches, one across here from here to here, and one at the other end, because I'm going to run power from the switchboard over there up to this wooden shed here. But if I can get the concrete done today, I won't be able to do any more tomorrow because we have other things on, and then maybe, well, I will need to get some more retaining planks anyway, so we'll see how all that works out time wise. Probably be next week. Okay, let's get on with it. chose not to source a concrete mixer for this job. It was only about 10 mixes in the barrow, and the fact that the wetness of the mix may not have been as consistent as it could be isn't really a big issue for a job like this, unlike if I had been laying a path where you really want your mix to be a lot more consistent. When we first moved to this property in 6th of May 1986, there were not really any fences at all on this side of the property. At that time we had an Airedale Terrier who very much needed to be constrained, so one of the first priorities on our arrival was to put a fence along this side, which is what it did. It was a simple fence of rammed in posts, wooden rails and fence palings. In the background you can see some of it further down. When Kathy's mum and dad built the house next door that you can see back in 1993-94, all this area that used to be grass was put into concrete for car parking. We're a long way up a steep hill from the road, so there needed to be adequate parking and turning space up here for both their and our visitors. When the concrete was laid, the ground level ended up being higher than it was originally, and so the bottom 200 to 300 or 8 to 10 inches of the fence ended up retaining the soil. This meant the wood was almost constantly moist, if not wet, and this has taken its toll on the palings and the railings. I think I mentioned this in a previous video. As the posts I put in were both sized and spaced for a fence and not a retaining wall, the extra pressure of the soil meant that they too were leaning quite a bit. What I'm doing now is putting a proper retaining wall in, and I will then put a shorter fence on the top of that. The fence is mostly to shelter the plants from the strong cold southerly winds that come through here, particularly during the wintertime. It will also mean that the garden will slope back towards the concrete and not off down the hill as it has up until now. Little by little, progress is being made, and we're making things easier to look after. Here we go, that's all done. So we have these short ones here, so this bit here is just going to have a low retaining wall, and then it's going to be concrete. This is all going to be concrete, this bit once it's done, but on this side there'll be a path going down here. That's why I've set that concrete a bit low, because I will actually dig more of that dirt out, and so I can get the retaining wall further down. And then we can do all this bit down here as well. Sometime in the next few days I will need to go and buy some more tongue and groove retaining boards, but the way things are shaping up, that might not be till next week, because I really want to, as much as possible, buy it on the same day as I put it in, because they're 6 meters long and they're kind of a tricky thing to find storage for. And you don't want to leave them out in the sun, because they'll warp and twist all over the place, especially if they're a bit damp when you get them. That's the plan going ahead. Thank you. Bye.